Mount Cow. What? You're seeing. Ready?
Yeah.
Am I in it?
Yeah.
Am I looking at it?
It's like
This is like the shout for the last 2
Is that a
days.
red light or a purple light?
This is
At
purple.
least the West.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome back to Mind Mapping, AP style. I'm your host. I'm the voice behind all those podcasts. We're looking at 1.2, which 7th hour put together for us. We're actually in 3rd hour right now. They're not allowed to talk though. So we're going to trace the big steps and see how it goes. They did a big project on this, so I don't think it'll be too much for that. So let's go here. We start with Christian humanism, branching off what you guys will fill in right here with humanism. The main player in that game, Erasmus, as it is said, he laid the egg that hatched Martin Luther. Let's jump up, staying in order and staying as much chronological as we can, even though Erasmus would have been a little later. We go to Thomas More, another Christian humanist. Class, what book did he write?
Utopia.
Let's rewind that. Class, what book did he write? Yeah. Wow. All right, and then we obviously from Christian humanism, the main figure would be Martin Luther, followed by John Calvin, and then next to each one of their names, just there's other ideas you can certainly associate with them, but primacy of the scriptures, what the Bible says is what goes, and then John Calvin's predestination, the idea that there's nothing you can really do. God is infallible. God is omniscient. His grace is a gift to you. So we see all that happening right there. Let's jump back down to, we see Thomas More was a key advisor to Henry VIII and will actually be beheaded by Henry VIII because he was anti the Anglican Church and the idea that Henry VIII should become the mergence of church and state with that. So we see that Tudor dynasty, red connected. And the reason we see, remember we got Henry VII here, we got a red and a green. Green represents our political struggle, but you should notice that through almost the whole thing. And that's the season of Christmas, I guess, red and green. That the political struggles are also religious struggles. There is a synthesis there of consolidating power. Religion and politics go together. So when Henry VIII, he wants his divorce, but he's also going to be one of the first to centralize his authority by becoming the Church of England and confiscating their lands and things like that. And that's where Thomas the More. Oops, Jerry. I was going to add this even though it's not in our vocab, just to give us something way here about, I'm going to add 1534 as a date you should know. And that's the Acts of Supremacy. Which Mary should be a little further down, but that's okay. Which grant him the full power of church and state within that. So that could actually be a green color too, so I'm going to do that. So we're understanding that idea. All right, let's stay with the realm of Henry VIII. His daughter Mary I. Again, she is not the politique. She tries to kill off the Protestants, thus the name Bloody Mary. She is followed by Elizabeth I. Good example of a politique, as she allows religious toleration. And that's going to be the focus of our DDQ. So we'll hold off on that. And then remember also Mary was married to Philip II of Spain, who is a Habsburg. Where's Charles to fit that? Oh, they are connected. We follow this. Is that the maroon color? No, that's red. Just a reddy maroon. All the way back up to that whole Calvinist mess over there. So, and this is going to create, once she dies, the struggle for sovereignty once again between Elizabeth and Philip. Philip sees himself as the rightful heir to England, wants to marry Elizabeth. She's all like, no bro, not doing that. I'm going to marry my country. So that's if a girl you're really interested in ever declines your offers because she's gonna marry like her house, she's really not that. It'd be like, no, I'm more focused on my career. It's kind of like that. It's more like that. That's probably gonna happen to a lot of people. That's not true.
I mean, also if she was married to Philip, she couldn't have her side hoe, Sir Walter Raleigh.
Philip will invade England in 1588, the Spanish Armada. And if you watch Tommy Boy, he's actually quizzed on that in the 10th, and he gets it wrong over and over again. All right, where we got more red? Martin Luther, John Calvin. So we connect. Let's go to John Calvin then. You can see a couple things. One, it's connected to the Orange movement of Calvin's Geneva, the idea of capitalism and culture. You get that Protestant work ethic, that idea, which really is connected to the whole development of economics and a middle class. So I think I should see some of that in there. What else? We see further along the German peasants and the Anabaptists, which, you know, a lot of fighting. We did our practice ED2 on that. Peace of Augsburg, a way of at least granting some religious toleration, but not for those Anabaptists. Let's move on to France. You got your Calvinist Huguenots, and they got the 1589 St. Mark Day Massacre. You got your Puritans in England, so that's going to be English Civil War. From the St. Mark's Day Massacre, the War of Three Henrys, which is going to have all of its political ties to Henry VIII as the politique, the Bourbon Dynasty, the Edict of Nantes, 1598, all up there as well. So you got all this religion and politics keeps coming back. You got the Catholic Counter-Reformation, tied directly to the Jesuits, which we put in our exploration category initially, but that's born out of the Council of Trent, year is right, and then also the Roman Inquisition and the Index of Prohibited Books. So what else? I guess if we jump all the way over here, you can see towards the end of all of this, from 1588 to 1648 is like the crescendo of religious wars and violence, in which 1648 is significant because you see the end of the religious wars and the sort of acceptance of other religious groups and the complete fragmentation of religion in Europe. So the Catholic Church is no longer going to have that central power. So you're going to start to see the nation state rise in order to fill that void, namely in France, Spain, England, and then Austria, Prussia, Russia. So those would be the main players within European society as we move past 1648. Did I say England and all that?
Yes.
I better. So that's the quick way of looking at that. So again, if you go through your concept outline, the big packet that we have, you should be able to see how all of that works. But right now, if I'm looking at this, the thing that seems like look how many lines connect to the price revolution. That's a big everything really. You could almost even connect the red line of the Reformation to it because of the Protestant work ethic and the idea that comes from that. Possibly. Woo! Okay, I think we're good. Let me